Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Henry Memorial Center in Washington, Pennsylvania. Today on the PAC Sports Network, a basketball doubleheader as the Thomas More Saints visit the W&J Presidents. I'm Randy Gore along with Justin Piles for today's games, and we have a role reversal today. Are playing first at 1 p.m., then the women tip at around 3 p.m. today. Also in the role reversal, a bit of a role reversal in the programs to this point in the season. W&J at 6-5 overall, 2-1 in conference play. The Presidents owning their first winning record after New Year's since 2009. The Saints, meanwhile, are at 2-9 and 1-1 in conference play. The Saints have played in the championship game in the conference the last 2 years. However, a little bit of a slower start, a much slower start than what they're used to.
Yeah, they've been runners-up in the conference tournament the last 2 years. On the other side, W&J has been the spoiler in the conference tournament the last 2 years, and with a 6-5 record, 2-1 record in the conference so far, they're not really looking to be spoiler. They're looking to be favorites to jump into that group at the top, which right now is just Bethany and St. Vincent at 3-0 and 2-0 respectively. W&J 1 game back in the loss column, and they're doing it kind of as a team oriented. They're certainly around Nate Belhigh, one of the best players in the conference, one of the best outside shooters in the conference, but it's really a collective effort, kind of stealing a page from the Thomas More book in terms of that's how the Saints have been successful the last couple years. Not really doing it with one person playing 1-on-5, clear out and spread out. It's a system game, and Coach Glenn Gutierrez is having success with it so far in the early season.
There's something to be said of that style, as Thomas More has had great success with it. And as you said, certainly Belhigh is the centerpiece, but a lot of great parts around him. As you can look at countless different players, Doug Johnson, Mike Resnick, Mitch Locker, all have stepped up and have had very good seasons to this point, and we'll be hoping to continue that here today against the Thomas More Saints. The Saints, meanwhile, we talked about their 2-9 record, but that is very misleading. This is probably one of the best 2-9 teams you'll ever see. That's because they have a big boost for the second half with the return of Brandon Housley and Joseph Marshall. Both missed most of the first half due to injury, and they have made their return. They have been slowly weaned back into the lineup by head coach Drew Cooper, who's in his first year at Thomas More, and in doing so, he said that they're not quite in game shape, complete game shape, so to speak. I mean, obviously they're in somewhat game shape to be out there on the floor, but just trying to get reacclimated to the shape that they want to be in. And nonetheless, whether they're at 100% full go, they have certainly been a big boost already to the team, just what they add to the floor and also what they give to their teammates off the bench in support.
Well, it's always difficult coming back mid-season from an injury when you haven't played yet, and couple that with a new coach, new system a little bit. Maybe the calls are a little different as well, so you have to get a little bit acclimated with that. And you talked about their schedule. They have played a difficult non-conference schedule. Non-conference is so misleading because basically anybody can play anyone, so you really don't know how indicative that 2-9 record is if they're playing against lesser competition, if they're playing against conference champions. And some of the teams that they've played, Wittenberg, for example, they're ranked 11th by D3 Hoops right now in the country. Certainly a tough team to go against. And their latest game against Hope is a 5-5 team, but four of those losses that Hope had has are the teams that are in that D3 Hoops top 25. So Thomas More has played some tougher competition, and you look at their conference record, they're just 1-1. They're in the same boat at W&J with regards to losses, one loss behind the conference leaders.
And as far as Thomas More is concerned, the good news is while they are 2-9 overall, they've played only 2 conference games at this point. So the vast majority of their conference schedule lies before them here in 2014. And same for W&J as well, although you have to like, if you're from their perspective, the confidence that they have built with their winning mark.
And Thomas More could very easily be undefeated in conference. They took care of Waynesburg at home and dropped a close game to Grove City, which we were at the beginning of December. But you could be looking at a 2-0 team right here coming to Washington very easily.
So the 6-5 W&J Presidents against the 2-9 Thomas More Saints. Our first game of our broadcast doubleheader today on the PAC Sports Network. And we're going to pause for a break as the folks here at the Henry Memorial Center ready for the national anthem. So we'll take a timeout, come back with the opening tip on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
Bankruptcy myths. Busted.
Bankruptcy is just another word for failure. It's for deadbeats.
The typical person filing for bankruptcy is 38, middle class, and educated. Over 90% of bankruptcies are traceable to job loss, illness, or divorce, factors largely out of anyone's control.
Myth. Busted. Bankruptcy myths. Busted. Brought to you by Foster Law Offices. Call today to schedule a free consultation and sleep better tonight.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
Welcome back to the Henry Memorial Center in Washington, Pennsylvania. The Thomas More Saints being introduced to the crowd here at the Henry. And let's give you the starting lineups for both teams. Today's starting lineups brought to you by Sport Clips. And first for the visiting Saints, led by head coach Drew Cooper in his first year as head man with the Saints. Number 3, 5'11" senior DeCarlo Hayes. Number 11, 6' senior Spencer Burlekamp. Number 21, 6'2" junior Drew Mumford. Number 33, 6'2" senior Brandon Housley. And number 45, 6'1" senior Joseph Marshall. Those are your starting 5 for the Thomas More Saints. And now for the homestanding W&J Presidents, led by head coach Glenn Gutierrez in his 8th year as head man of the Presidents. Number 1, 6'6" junior Nate Belhigh. Number 3, 5'7" junior Doug Johnson. Number 15, 6'4" sophomore Tyler Haas. Number 23, 6'1" sophomore Nick Martin. And number 33, 6' Mike Resnick. And also While we have a moment before our contest tips off today, let's pass along our triple three-point shooters of the game. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living, our triple shooters. And today for the Thomas More Saints, player to look at from the outside is DeCarlo Hayes. He's 22 of 57 this season, hitting at a 39% clip. And for W&J, Doug Johnson. Actually, you can look at two players for W&J. We'll single out Doug Johnson today. He is 19 of 53, hitting at a 36% clip for the Presidents. And again, those are your triple three-point shooters of the game.
Well, Doug Johnson's having the season from beyond the arc, but last time these two teams played, Nate Belhigh had the game from beyond the arc. He went for 37, and he was red hot, 7 of 8 from 3. No one got a hand in his face. Just great shooting from Nate. And it's easy for him to shoot over people too, because he's such a tall figure, 6'6", really could play inside and outside, but does a lot of his damage from beyond the arc. But it's difficult when you have someone on the perimeter like Nate Belhigh. You really have to get someone in his face to square him up to a shot, and just not that much height out there at the guard position to really make him alter a shot. So that's why he is, or one of the factors why he is so proficient from out there.
A versatile player in Nate Belhigh, and can do it inside, and as you described, can do it from the outside as well. He has 20 three-pointers this season with a 31% margin of success from the outside. It will be Belhigh and Brandon Housley for the opening tip here at the Henry Memorial Center. Housley wins the opening tip, and we are underway. Glad you can be with us on the PAC Sports Network. Thomas More with the opening possession. Mumford looks to Housley, top of the key, works it left to Joseph Marshall. Again, if you missed the very opening of our broadcast, Housley and Marshall back in the lineup for Thomas More, as they had missed most of the first half due to injury. And Housley looking for someone to come free as Mumford on the left wing will go cross court to DeCarlo Hayes. Burlekamp inside. Housley for the bucket on the right side. Low blocks, 2-0 Thomas More.
And he's kind of the Saints equivalent to Nate Belhigh. Not quite as big as Nate, but he's versatile inside and outside. You'll see him knock down some outside shots, able to get to the rim. Very important to have him back in the lineup. Also, pretty decent defender, and he's on Belhigh right now down low, trying to deny him the basketball.
Housley, who stands at 6'2", plays much bigger than that height. We've seen him in the past, and he certainly does play much bigger than his size would indicate. Right now, W&J with a methodical possession. Dribbling from the left wing, Tyler Haas with a fadeaway jump shot, back of the iron. Rebound, Spencer Burlekamp. He'll jog it up the floor and will let his offense set itself. From the left side, Hayes has Burlekamp. Left of the elbow, goes right side, Mumford into the right quarter to Housley. Marshall trying to find some space, but has the ball jarred loose by Mike Resnick and into the arms of Haas. Now it's Resnick who's open underneath the basket. 2-2 we're tied.
Yeah, Resnick beating Marshall down the floor, able to get that easy lay-in. Quick timeout by Thomas More after W&J ties it.
No, we're just about a minute and a half in, and after one bucket, Coach Drew Cooper wants a timeout for Thomas More, so obviously did not like what he just saw of that opening set of points for the W&J Presidents.
Yeah, both teams kind of an interesting moment here. Both coaches very animated, even though it was Thomas More that called the timeout. Both coaches very animated here in the early going. Just one basket aside, couple of 33s on the board with Resnick and Housley.
And Resnick, who just scored moments ago, a valuable sixth man for the Presidents the last couple of years, now a starter, had a similar role while he was at McKeesport High School, but certainly was Mr. Clutch over the holiday break in a win over Juniata, a 79-73 win for W&J. Converted a three-point play to force overtime, and then Resnick hit a three-pointer to force double overtime. So he was a big part of that win, and a big victory that has given W&J much confidence at this point in the season.
Yeah, he's a huge part of this team too. He's not going to fill up the stat sheet in one category, but he's going to fill it up in several. He's going to get about 10 points, 5-6 rebounds, a steal, an assist. He can just fill up a stat sheet, does the little things, and we saw him run the floor a moment ago.
Spencer Burlekamp with a three-pointer, giving Thomas More the lead back, but Belhigh with an answer, plus the foul.
Great feed there from Tyler Haas out on the perimeter, saw the cut to the basket, and that's where Nate used his size to shield the defenders, able to catch that and lay it in all in one motion. He'll head to the line for a potential three-point play.
A couple of times in transition now, W&J has found a man wide open right underneath the basket. much to the dismay of Thomas Moore's head coach Drew Cooper. 3-point play completed, and we're even again, 5 up.
That's been a problem for Thomas More this year, is just defense, keeping opponents away from the hoop and limiting scoring opportunities are one of the worst in the conference in terms of points given up.
Hey, if you like high-scoring games, watch the Thomas More Saints. They put a lot of points on the board. They also have, from their perspective, unfortunately, allowed a great deal of points as well. Brandon Housley finds Mumford cutting through the lane, kicks it out right side to Burleycamp, bounce past to Housley in traffic for a shot blocked from behind by Resnick, but contact on the play, a foul upcoming on Resnick.
Yeah, a lot of contact both sides during that entire possession. Kind of like that a little bit. We've seen a lot of games where there are a lot of whistles, calling a little bit tighter game this year across the board. I kind of like to see the play develop and continue if it doesn't really impact the possession. There, Housley was fouled and he'll have a couple free throw opportunities.
Housley first free throw up and good. Brandon Housley, not many free throw attempts this season. He's now 6 of 8 with that connection. Just his 6th game this year is, again, had an injury to start the season. Knocks down both free throws, and Thomas More up by a pair. Tyler Haas guarded by Mumford. Haas dribbles into the lane. Nice pass to Belhigh. Shot blocked, however, by Marshall. In transition, Thomas More runs the floor. Burleycamp to Hayes, and talking with Coach Drew Cooper, this is exactly what he wants to see his team try to run up the floor, a run and go type of approach, and catch perhaps W&J's defense napping. Marshall with a miss, and now the Presidents come the other way. Belhigh finds Resnick, fall-away shot, knocks it down. We're tied once more, 7-all.
Resnick had to alter his jump, alter his shot too, as a defender passed by, but able to knock it down anyway. I get the feeling after the first couple minutes of this game, it really could open up if we started seeing some missed baskets. We could really get a transition game going.
Burleycamp, head fake, dribbles in a few steps. Now Marshall kicks it out to Hayes for 3. And there's one of our 3-point shooters, our triple 3-point shooters of the game, converting. 10-7 Thomas More.
That's a weapon that Thomas More really hasn't used as much as in past years, is the 3-point shot, maybe with Marshall and Housley, and that presence down low can open up the perimeter for some of these shooters.
Ball stripped free from Johnson, but out of bounds off of Thomas Moore's Brandon Housley. 3-point lead for the Saints. Presidents have had an answer each time the Saints have taken the lead. We're in the opening half. Haas from the right wing dribbles left, passes up top to Resnick. Resnick directs traffic and works it back to Haas, top right point. Looking for a screen to set itself. Haas has the ball stripped away by Mumford into the arms of DeCarlo Hayes. Behind the back dribble, slithers through the lane. Pass right side, Burleycamp, head fake, kicks it out to Mumford. He'll dribble in a few steps, 16-footer. Takes a tour of the rim, but falls out. Rebound, Nate Belhigh. Belhigh, 3-point try. Off the mark. Easy rebound for Burleycamp in wide open space. As Hayes pull up 3-pointer. That one no good. Rebound Haas, keeps his feet inbounds, tiptoeing the baseline, and works it free to Johnson. Johnson, nice tic-tac-toe inside. It won't go down for Belhigh, but he'll head to the line.
Yeah, great look by Nick Martin. Once Johnson gave the ball up to Martin, immediately down low to Belhigh, who was open, just couldn't quite get that one to go. But on those last couple 3-pointers, you saw the transition game a little bit. Both teams wasting no time to get up and down the floor.
Presidents in their home whites going left to right across your computer screen today. The Saints in their visiting blue uniforms. First free throw is true for Belhigh. Belhigh 2 for 2 from the charity stripe in this one in the early going. He is a 68% free throw shooter from the line, makes another. He has 5, and the lead is 1 for Thomas More in the first half. Saints will lock it up the floor with Spencer Burleycamp in the backcourt, guarded by Nick Stone, who has checked into the game, the 5'11 freshman for W&J. Also Brett Ruben Goldstein in. DeCarlo Hayes, bounce pass right side. Mumford wide open, drains that one. Saints up their lead to 4. Drew Mumford, who's had a fantastic start to the season. Really a bust-out year for him. The 6'2 junior averages 18 points per game and the team leader in steals with 15. Mitch Locker trying to go up over Mumford, but off the right side of the rim. Ball out of bounds off of Locker, trying to get his own rebound. Saints possession. Burlekamp, a point guard, pass left side to Hayes. Goldstein, Brett Rubin Goldstein brings out the defense as Hayes hands it off to Mumford, left side. Burlekamp for the triple, rattles out, rebound Resnick. From the right side, Stone, back up top to Brett Rubin Goldstein. Now it's Belhigh for three. That fadeaway off the mark, Mumford with the rebound, quickly works it free to Burlekamp. Inside look to Hausler, so you make that Hayes has the ball jarred loose. W&J in the forecourt, but a whistle on the Presidents.
Yeah, Nick Stone called for traveling there. His progress was stopped a little bit and tried to dish the basketball and couldn't quite in time.
Burlekamp leads the floor as he has much of the day to this point. Mumford. Pass to the left to Nate McGovney. Now it's Burlekamp wide open to Mumford. Well, that's twice Mumford's been left all alone. Once for a three-pointer, that time right underneath the cylinder. And Thomas More, Drew Mumford has converted. It was a 1-point lead for the Saints. Now a 6-point advantage. W&J wants a timeout. We'll take a quick break as well. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
And we're back out of the W&J timeout. Presidents with the basketball. And Justin, there is a reason why Drew Mumford came wide open that last bucket.
Yeah, Thomas More setting a couple screens, and it looked like W&J was trying to switch on all screens or most screens, and it was just 2 defenders went one way and no one went with Mumford. Not sure if it was a didn't switch play or just got caught up in the wash kind of thing, but either way, he was wide open. It doesn't get much easier than that.
From the right side, Rubin Goldstein has Resnick. And in between 2 defenders, nifty lay-in, and the Presidents cut it to 4.
Thomas More trying to front the Presidents in the paint, whether it's Nate Belhigh, who's out of the game right now. That time it was Resnick, but Presidents doing a good job of lobbing those entry passes in a way that only their man can get it, and the defender on the front can't get a hand on the passes.
We sat down with Resnick over the holiday break, and as we talked about early on, he was a 6th man the last couple of years, similar role at McKeesport High School, but he is really relishing in the role now as a starter amongst the starting 5 and seeing more minutes, and he has come through in big ways as he comes up with a rebound right there and a long ball pass to Mitch Locker for the finger roll, lay it off the glass plus the foul.
Well, there's 2 guys right there, Resnick to Locker. Both guys have come off the bench during their collegiate careers, but both have also seen big minutes. Obviously, both in the game right now, so the coach has to trust them just a little bit. But Resnick we've seen down the stretch of many games the last couple years, even though he has come off the bench, played big minutes in big situations. And you mentioned the Juniata game where he helped extend that game twice for W&J on big plays at the buzzer as time went down, first in regulation, then in overtime.
Locker converts the 3-point play with the free throw. He's on the score sheet, and it's back to a 1-point lead for Thomas More. Right side, McGovney fakes right, goes left, finds Elliott Pipes open for 3. Sits on the rim a couple of times, and then the easy rebound for Mitch Locker. Nick Stone, the freshman, angles to the left, fakes right, passes left, is into the game 6'3" junior Eric Holmes out of Pine Richland High School. Brett Rubin Goldstein hands it off to Stone, between the leg dribble, big hop step to the right, now back to Holmes. Holmes in between defenders, travels before he gets the shot off, ball to Thomas More. Approaching the midway mark of the first half, as we're a full 8 minutes plus into this one. Drew Mumford to Elliot Pipes on the left side as Chris Richard. And now McGovney guarded by Locker. Pipes with a juke step, works it around. The Saints swing it to the right side, back left. Quick passing here. Looking for the open shot are the Saints. And not minding taking up some time off the shot clock. McGovney gets it done off the glass as he spins to the left side low blocks. 3 points the lead for Thomas More.
Nate McGovney's done great things off the bench for Thomas More this year, averaging double figures. And right there, just a nice job of making something really out of nothing, driving baseline and getting the shot to fall.
Freshman averaging 10 points per game, Nate McGovney. Here's Resnick for a long 2-point jumper off the backboard. Rebound McGovney as Pipes streaks into the forecourt. Mumford has Drew Mays. Mays, another freshman, seeing time for the Saints. Pipes unsure where to go. Now we'll go to Mays. It's Richard for the follow-away jumper, nothing but net. And after a 5-0 run by W&J, a quick 5-0 run by Thomas More as well, or 4-0 run, excuse me. One of the things that is a positive out of the early injuries to Joseph Marshall and Brandon Housley is that it has allowed players, I mentioned the 2 freshmen, McGovney and Mays. There's a pass off the rim, corralled by Holmes from the left side. Jump shot for Locker, no good, and it's Richard with the rebound. But not only has it allowed those freshmen playing time, but Drew Mumford, who we've seen all over the floor, has allowed him some additional versatility. And now with those players returning, it just is only going to make this Thomas More team that much better.
Yeah, get people returning from injury, gives you depth, gives you a few more options offensively and defensively. A couple of bigger bodies also help your down low defense a little bit, although neither in the game right now.
McGovney from the right side has the rebound tipped out to Pipes. Mays, cross court to Mumford, open for the 3, hits it, and the foul.
All right, Mumford's been on fire all season long, but starting out this game as well. Already 8 points for him, and opportunity for a rare 4-point play. Wholesale line change for W&J, 4 or 5 players in and out.
Drew Mumford, who has 8 points already, including a couple of 3-pointers. DeCarlo Hayes and Spencer Burleycamp also with trays. It's Thomas More, who has utilized successful shooting from beyond the arc. W&J has yet to connect on a 3-pointer. Mumford, 4-point play complete. You don't see that too often. But you see it right there. 9 points now for Mumford. And a 9-point lead for the Thomas More Saints.
And now clicking at 50% from the field. 8 of 16 on field goals are the Saints. Good shooting by them.
Brett Ruben Goldstein trying to feed Bell High inside. Guarded well by Housley. Haas spins around a defender. Brett Ruben Goldstein nearly had his pocket picked, but the ball loose to Bell High. Finds Nick Martin underneath. In major traffic, kicks it out to Johnson, wide open for 3, straight on look. Good offensive board by Martin, has Bell High for the touch pass, and Bell High is fouled on the way up. Bucket won't go, but Bell High back to the line where he's 3 for 3 so far today.
Well, you can see whenever the ball gets in the paint, whether it's Bell High, Resnick, that time it was Marshall, or Martin, excuse me, you just see Marshall and Housley and the entire Saints defense just collapse on the basketball. They want to get that out of the paint as quick as possible. Force the Presidents to shoot from the outside.
Well, Thomas More wanted to make Bell High work today. You noted the 37-point night he had against Thomas More last season, and they were hoping to not allow him any easy buckets. Well, they haven't, but Bell High converting at the line.
Yeah, that's where he's done most of his damage. Just 1 field goal, 0 of 2 from beyond the arc, but perfect from the free throw line.
Now has 7 points, 5 of the 7 from the stripe. 23-26 Thomas More as Drew Mays walks it into the forecourt. DeCarlo Hayes around a screen from Housley. Hands it off to Burleycamp, who slides left. Now Mays open around a screen for 3, no good. Joseph Marshall trying to battle for the rebound, but it's tipped to Martin. Martin with a near giveaway, but Haas recovers under his own basket. Now we'll run with it in transition. Lob pass Bell High, off the window, no good. Marshall with the board. Run and gun now for the Saints. Spinning ahead is Mays. He'll push it to the right to Burlekamp. And now to Carlo Hayes. Housley has the ball stripped free. Dive on the floor. Brett Ruben Goldstein will give it up to Johnson. 3-on-2 develops for W&J. Lob pass to Belhigh. Marshall on him. Housley with the block out of bounds.
Anytime he has the ball, anywhere inside that three-point arc, Nate Belhigh is immediately double team, sometimes triple team. Just not going to let him have an easy lay-in, easy look at the basket.
Now Belhigh has the height advantage over Thomas More, so they're going to try to get as many bodies to him as possible, and they've done so.
They got a mismatch with him. Drew Mays on him. Try and get him the ball in the post.
Doug Johnson with Housley in his face. Cross court, Brett Ruben Goldstein for the triple, drains it. W&J trims it to a 4-point contest.
And that's something that the Presidents are going to have to do if the Saints are going to collapse down low. That'll open up the outside shooting. If they have those open outside shots, they have to knock them down to get that defense to respect their shooting.
First tray of the day for W&J on that Brett Ruben Goldstein hit. Burlekamp bounce pass Housley, up and under, won't drop, rebound, still loose, eventually it's Mays. Jump shot three-pointer to Carlo Hayes, knocks it down, and the answer by the Saints, lead back up to 7. Carlo Hayes has 6, both from outside. Martin feeds Johnson left wing, head fake, will dribble it out. W&J hosting the Thomas More Saints in our first broadcast doubleheader of the new year. Jump ball, arrow with the Presidents. Stay tuned at halftime as we'll have our regular halftime features for you. And today, in both contests, we're focusing on the W&J Presidents. For you Thomas More fans tuning in, we'll have Thomas More features for you coming up on now you don't have to wait that long, on January 18th against the St. Vincent Bearcats.
Well, part of negative 10-degree weather makes you think September.
I have no idea. Slip of the tongue, evidently. Or maybe wishful thinking. Now, September's a big month for me personally, so that's probably why my mind's on September. Maybe that's it. Belhigh underneath is fouled once again.
Saints foul number 45.
Charge this foul to Joseph Marshall.
Is first at the line for W&J.
15 foul on the Saints. 2 team fouls currently on the Presidents as we're underneath the 7-minute mark in the first half. Belhigh, first miss from the line. Marshall will take a seat, re-entering Drew Mumford. Brett Ruben Goldstein exits for the Presidents. Mitch Locker re-enters. And Belhigh connects on the second free throw. He has 8. 6-point lead for Thomas More. Trying to dribble in between 2 defenders, but unable to do so. DeCarlo Hayes had the ball stripped free by the President's defense. Trying to do too much there, all by his lonesome. Nate Belhigh. Mitch Locker from the left side. Nice take, aggressive move, and finishes it. 4-point game. Thomas More wants a timeout. Drew Cooper calls a 30. We'll take a quick break with the Saints. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
Bankruptcy myths. Busted.
Bankruptcy is just another word for failure. It's for deadbeats.
The typical person filing for bankruptcy is 38, middle class, and educated. Over 90% of bankruptcies are traceable to job loss, illness, or divorce, factors largely out of anyone's control.
Myth busted. Bankruptcy myths busted. Brought to you by Foster Law Offices. Call today to schedule a free consultation and sleep better tonight.
Back at the Henry Memorial Center from Washington, Pennsylvania, the W&J Presidents hosting Thomas More, trailing the Saints by 4 points as we approach the 6-minute mark of the opening half. Thomas More has been in the lead throughout much of the half. And Mumford tries the three-pointer. Rare miss for him so far in the first half. Rebound Mitch Locker. And Drew Mumford has been everything he has been all season long. He averages 18 points per game. And loose ball to Carlo Hayes. Lead pass off the steal by Hayes to Berlekamp, the lay-in. Saints expand their lead to 6. Spencer Berlekamp with 5 points so far today. Inside look to Locker. Strong move, and for the second time today, an aggressive move to the cylinder for Locker has paid off. He has 7 off the bench. Mays from the right wing. Head fake, dribbles in. Finds Mumford, left corner. Hayes for 3, rattles out. Rebound Locker. Unfriendly rim there for DeCarlo Hayes. It was about halfway down and came back up. And a foul away from the basketball. And that on the Thomas More Saints, DeCarlo Hayes. 6th foul on the Saints, so keep your eye on that. Next foul will have W&J shooting free throws, or at least a free throw. Mitch Locker. Now to Doug Johnson for the three-pointer. 1-point game.
WJ starting to find success from beyond the arc. Cold early now. A couple makes in the last couple of minutes.
So W&J's triple shooter of the game. Our Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living 3-point shooter of the game. And Doug Johnson, who hits 36% from outside, averages 10 points per game, cuts it to a 1-point affair between the Saints and Presidents. Berlekamp, ball stripped again by W&J. Johnson ahead to Locker. Loose ball out of bounds off of Hayes. Hayes petitioning that the ball touch the foot of Locker. Came very close to doing so, but the official right there says W&J ball. Resnick will check in. Doug Johnson checks out. Inbounds pass goes to Tyler Haas from Jake Swan. Thomas More has had the lead for the most part, but W&J trying to take the lead here. Belhigh is fouled, so again, no easy buckets for W&J, in particular Nate Belhigh, but another trip to the charity stripe.
Spencer Berlekamp, his second, team 7. At the line shooting 2. Number 1, Nate Belhigh.
Now, Nate Belhigh mentioned that we sat down with some of the presidents over the holiday break. And Belhigh, we talked with him what life is like now at W&J without big brother Zach. And we say big brother in terms of age. Nate, a little bit taller than Zach, but nonetheless, he had. This isn't the first time he's had to deal with this, so to speak, because it was a similar scenario while both were at Fort Cherry High School. Belhigh knocks down both free throws, and the Presidents with a 1-point lead.
Yeah, Zach graduating, Nate coming over from Seton Hill last year, so had one more year after playing a couple years of high school ball with his brother. And now it's definitely his team. While they're both outstanding players, definitely a different style of player.
Shot blocked by Mitch Locker, but a foul, I believe, on another President. It might be on Locker. Nope, my apologies. It is on Tyler Haas. So it was clean up top by Locker, but Haas got him with the body. And now DeCarlo Hayes at the line. And as you were talking about, Nate Belhigh since he's been through this before with big brother Zach, a teammate, then graduating at Fort Cherry, now again with W&J. Talking with Coach Glenn Gutierrez, he said there's good and bad to it. The good that Zach Belhigh was playing with him is that in last season was that they know each other so well, they have that sixth sense. But the positive now with Zach gone is that Nate knows now that this is his team. He's to be a leader with this group, and he's done a great job with that.
Yeah, and it's a totally different player, like we were talking about. Zach more of he can go one-on-one a little bit more, whereas Nate's more beneficial when he uses his teammates and they can get him the ball. We saw it down low when he's posting up or out on the perimeter.
Chris Richard with the bucket makes it 32-29 Saints. And there is Nate Bell high for the lay-in.
And just like that, a feed from Locker down low. Nate over in the corner, just run the baseline. No one picked him up for Thomas More, and that was his easiest basket of the afternoon.
Bell high with a game high 12 points. That's just his second field goal of the afternoon. But he has made it happen as Nate Bell high.
More of a zone look from W&J now.
Under 3 to play in the first half. Hayes open for the 3. No good. Offensive rebound. Richard is fouled.
One of the things, when you go to a zone, you have to have people crashing boards, and that time Richard able to sneak in under. I think that was Mitch Locker over there on that side, able to grab that rebound, and second chance opportunity for the Saints.
That's Locker charged for the foul. That's his first. As Chris Richard at the line, free throw is good. Richard with 5 points, averages 4.1 rebounds per game. He's the team leader in rebounding with 41 total entering today's action. Also averages 9 points per game. Knocks down the second free throw. He has 6 and a lead up to 3 for Thomas More. So the Presidents had a brief lead moments ago, but the Saints back to the 3-point advantage. Beautiful finger roll there by Locker, and it's a 1-point game once again.
He's really finding success, Mitch Locker. Seems like the Saints defense forgets about him at times. He's had some easy baskets, whether it's in the half-court set or running the floor. He's gotten to the rim with regularity and is doing a nice job.
Pipes to Richard. Nearly traveled, but he does give the ball away off a low pass that was intended for Mumford. Swan bounce pass for Resnick. Bell high on the floor, can't get to it. And now McGovney pushes the floor, 3-on-1 for the Saints. Hayes fouled from behind by Jake Swan. Now DeCarlo Hayes, the reigning PAC Player of the Year, asked him how proud he was of how proud he might have been as being named the PAC Player of the Year, and he said, to tell you the truth, I didn't really focus on it too much because we went to the championship game and lost, and he was more concerned with that, the fact that they were hopeful of making the NCAA tournament and winning the conference crown. They did neither. It kind of took the thrill away from that PAC Player of the Year award. And you like that attitude, though. It's not about him, it's about the team. And granted, he won the personal honor, but his team didn't win the championship, and that wasn't good enough for him. Timeout on the floor for W&J.
Well, with another year of eligibility obviously coming back and playing here, opportunity is still there to have a conference championship while in college. And certainly this year's race, no one's really, you have a couple undefeated teams there at the top of the conference with Bethany and St. Vincent, but no one's really established themselves as a dominant, they're the clear-cut favorite team. It's a very muddled, especially when you get past those two teams. The whole area of teams with one loss, it's a muddy picture right now, and you can even look at it from the perspective. Yesterday, Grove City played Waynesburg and beat them by 2. Grove City beat this Thomas More team by 2, but Thomas More ended up beating Waynesburg by 25. So you can't use the transitive property in that situation and really tell how good a team is based on the outcomes of the other games yet. And it's still a long way to go. Just each of these teams only play 2 or 3 conference games. But this is when you really figure out how your team and how other teams stack up with everybody in the conference, because everybody's playing each other and it eventually all works itself out.
Hayes, after the timeout by the Presidents, hits the second free throw. And it's now a 3-point lead again for Thomas More.
These Saints, they're one possession away against Grove City from being an undefeated team in the conference. Grove City is a slight loss against Bethany from being undefeated. So it's a different conference this year, and it's wide open, at least right now in January.
Yeah, wide open and a lot to be determined. The beginning of the conference grind really underway starting today. DeCarlo Hayes for 3. Off the right side of the rim, loose ball rebound, last touched by W&J.
And this game's big for both these teams. They're trying to chase those leaders. And for Thomas More to put 2013 behind them, a 2-9 record. Yeah, it's just 1-1 in the conference, but they're coming in here riding a 5-game losing streak. They'd like to start off this year with on a good foot.
Well, looking for a lob pass Chris Richard with a near giveaway, but McGovney recovers. Richard underneath, nice dish to Housley, and drops it into the cylinder. 5-point lead for the Saints. Housley with 6. What a wonderful assist as Belhigh draws another foul on the Saints. Mumford underneath.
Saints foul number 21, Drew Mumford, his first.
And that on Mumford's, that's his first foul of the day. 8th team foul on the Saints, but this was going to be a shooting foul regardless.
With 18 fouls, no real foul trouble yet for the Saints. Burlekamp with 2, Pipes with 2, and then Hayes, Housley, Marshall, and now Mumford all with 1. So fouls accumulating, but no real trouble yet in terms of any regulars being in foul trouble.
They've been spread out so far, fortunately for the Saints.
And that'll be good if the strategy is in the second half the same in the first half. Anytime Belhigh gets near the rim, foul and put him on the line. So far, it hasn't really worked out. He's only missed 1 free throw, but if that strategy continues, those fouls are going to continue to accumulate.
Mumford finds some space, knifes through the lane for the bucket and the foul.
Looked like they got Belhigh with the hook of the arm as Mumford went down the lane.
Drew Mumford is good.
Oh, Mumford accepted a foul moments ago. This time, he will work it for the deuce and try the 3-point play. He's already converted one of these today. Actually, a 4-point play he converted earlier today. And this time it's the 3-point play for Mumford. He has 12. He's the team leader in at this point for the Saints. 1 minute to go before halftime. Doug Johnson jogs it up the floor. Brett Ruben Goldstein to Nate Belhigh, top of the key, spins his way into the paint, dishes it off to Johnson. Now Mitch Locker. Pass left side, Ruben Goldstein. Head fake in the left corner, finds resistance, will back it off. 15 on the shot clock, Resnick. To Brett Ruben Goldstein, wants to go inside the Locker. Instead, right wing, Johnson. Head fake, Mumford guarding. Johnson will take the 3, and he'll hit the 3.
The shot clock winding down, he had to do something with it. It was about 4, maybe 3 when he let that one go. And got it to splash.
Doug Johnson with 2 3-pointers today. Shot clock is off. Saints waiting for the last shot of the half. Thomas More up by 3. McGovney under 10 seconds. Hayes, crossover, has McGovney right side, releases the shot before the buzzer, no good. And the first half concludes with the Saints up by 3, 41-38. So we'll take a break, come back, talk about some things right here on the PAC Sports Network.
3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for La-Z-Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized La-Z-Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
Back at the Henry Memorial Center, the W&J Presidents at home, trailing the Thomas More Saints 41-38. This all-time series, today's the 24th meeting between these two schools. Thomas More holding a 13-10 edge, and the Saints also have won 4 of the last 5, including a win here at the Henry Memorial Center last year, 90-80. But this is a very close contest, and the Saints, again, have led for the majority, but that lead has fluctuated anywhere from about 7 to 1 point. So W&J did have a brief lead at 29-28, but for the most part, the Saints Saints have been ahead, but I would say the stats pretty much match up with what we've seen on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it was an entertaining first half. Thomas More able to keep W&J at arm's length, but they've had to work for their hoops, as had W&J. Very physical game down low. We've seen a bunch of points in transition, but if you look at the stat sheet up and down, it's pretty much the same. Shooting percentage, rebounding, free throws, both teams. Thomas More perfect free throws. W&J just missed one free throw, so just a 1 3-pointer by Thomas More is the difference so far.
Individually, Nate Belhigh with 14 and Drew Mumford for the Saints with 12. Belhigh, of course, for the W&J Presidents. So those are your individual leaders at this point on the score sheet. As at halftime, we, as is our tradition, we have a halftime feature for you, and today focusing on the W&J men's basketball team. That coming up right now on the PAC Sports Network.
Although they limped to a pair of 9-18 records over the past couple of seasons, the W&J men's basketball program has enjoyed upset wins in the conference tournament. Victories over Teal and Bethany over the last 2 years have shown that the Presidents can beat anyone in the conference and are especially dangerous with their backs against the wall. Now they are enjoying their best start in a while with their first winning record at New Year's since 2009.
Last year we only had 3 seniors, and one of them had not played the previous year. So we've been really young the last 2 years in that the majority of our team has been freshmen and sophomores. This year, you know, that the main core of our team are all juniors. You know, that class that started with 10 in it, we now have 6 in it. But all 6 of them have played significant minutes. Most of them have started at one time or another. So we're more experienced, more seasoned this year.
Mike Resnick is one of those juniors and knows all about how the Presidents utilize their depth. Recruited out of McKeesport, Pennsylvania, he understands the value of being a reserve, working hard, and being able to step up when an opportunity arises.
It was interesting because in high school, I actually was a 6th man, so coming here and being like the 6th man coming off the bench wasn't that big of an adjustment. But now I've shaped my game this summer and trying to score more and be more of a player rather than a role player.
While Mike has not been a starter, he has been one of those guys who has played significant minutes. Now, as a starter and as one of our leaders, his role has just expanded.
Resnick is a hard worker. Realizing his expanding role with the Presidents, he dedicated himself last summer to improving many aspects of his game.
Mainly my three-point shooting. I mean, I used to be a three-point shooter, and now I'm more of a mid-range guy.
I mean, we need Mike to play well every single night, and he's got to play at a high level every night. But he brings toughness day to day, day in and day out. And if you're not ready to answer his toughness, I mean, he's going to ring your bell a couple times.
That off-season work is paying dividends. In a December upset of Juniata, Resnick forced overtime on an and one in the waning seconds of regulation and forced a second overtime on a three-pointer at the horn, just his 4th make from beyond the arc this year. Now a starter, he has ceded his 6-man duties to Mitch Locker. In one of the first games this season, Locker scored 20 points off the bench, leading W&J to a win against Denison, a game that caused the Presidents' leading scorer Nate Belhigh to realize they had quality up and down their bench.
Mitch has really stepped up. He is a very good 6th man to come off the bench. That's what you need in this league now that they're calling all kinds of fouls and people get fouled out. So, he's really stepped up to the plate this year for being a guy that comes off the bench and doing what he's been doing.
The bench is just as strong as a starting 5, you know. There's not a big difference, which really helps because, like I said, each practice is competitive, and that translates to the games as well.
The game in and of itself brings a certain level of anxiety just because it's for real. You know, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser tonight. So one of the things that we try and do in practice is we try and challenge them. We make drills, I think, and I hope, challenging, hard. I think our pace of practice is demanding, and then I'm demanding.
A lot of the guys are actually stepping up. Mitch, the first couple of games, had really big games to help us get some wins there whenever I couldn't get buckets against the Denison team. And then like Mike steps up. Like, we have a deep bench and everyone brings what they can to the table, and it's really helping our team.
I think the one main thing is our age. We're really mature now. Last year we had the sophomores, and now we're all juniors. So it's really an aging process. And also, we're playing a lot better as a team this year. I mean, our scoring, we're all around like 12, 13 points a game, which is really helping us. And we all can rely on each other. If one person's down, another person can pick us up.
Yeah, that really does help, because the game that really made me realize that my team can step up and get a win is the Denison game, because I didn't have any points in the Denison game. But my team was able to come off the bench. They were able the starters, everyone was able to do what they needed to do to get the win without me having to score a bunch of points. And that was really comforting to know that everyone on the team can do that. And it was just great to see. And now I know that if I can't get something done, if I'm having a bad game, other guys are going to step up and be able to get it done.
Like his teammates, Belli has also dealt with a new role in his junior season, taking over as a leader and team's top scorer upon the graduation of his brother, Zach.
Last year we had Zach, who was the leading scorer, so I didn't necessarily have to score 20 a game or anything crazy like that. But this year it's kind of bringing back to high school, kind of, because in high school I was the guy that had to score a bunch of points whenever Zach left there. So I'm kind of used to it from that, and it's just a new experience having to do it in college too.
It was great that he and Zach got to play together, and they're two terrific players. But I think, Zach was always big brother. Maybe not big in physical stature, but he's always my older brother. And I think that it didn't limit Nate, but I think he deferred at times, I guess, if you will. And now he's kind of stepped up and assumed some ownership that, now it's my team.
I'm trying to be a leader on the court. I'm trying to be more vocal, because really I'm kind of a quiet person, and just trying to help my team the best that I can.
And now Nate, it's more, if you set a screen, or if he sets a screen, he's going to seal and roll, and he's going to be open, because, he's a monster, to be honest with you. And I think that's just changed with the way we come off screens and the way we approach setting screens, because we always know there's going to be a roll man, and Nate's going to be in that paint looking for the ball. And that helps us coming off screens as well, because we're going to be open.
The first time around, my team at Fort Cherry didn't have the guys on the team that I do now. Like, these guys can score, these guys can play D, these guys can do it all. And there will be people that will step up and have 20 a game, or something like Tyler Haas did against Westminster. There's not too many people that could do that at Fort Cherry, that now I have people that are coming off the bench and scoring a bunch of points rather than just starters. So there's people that can step up and play D, get stops, and do what they have to do to get the win.
Depth, maturity, versatility. This is a program that was already dangerous come tournament time, but this year, W&J won't be sneaking up on anybody, and they are ready for whatever challenges await ahead of them.
Last year, it was with the 3 seniors that we had, it was a priority to, we had to win, just for those guys. And this year, with our lone senior, we're going to have that same feeling. But this year, I think we're having that feeling a lot earlier on, and we know that we can be at the top of the pack.
We didn't figure it out how to play together really until the end of the year, and that's when we started playing well. And this year, everyone's used to playing with each other, so I think we'll be able to make a little run.
Win or go home. When playoff basketball comes around, it's a whole different ball game. You don't want to lose, and you can't lose.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
Bankruptcy myths. Busted.
Bankruptcy is just another word for failure. It's for deadbeats.
The typical person filing for bankruptcy is 38, middle class, and educated. Over 90% of bankruptcies are traceable to job loss, illness, or divorce, factors largely out of anyone's control.
Myth. Busted. Bankruptcy myths. Busted. Brought to you by Foster Law Offices. Call today to schedule a free consultation and sleep better tonight.
For 3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
And welcome back to the Henry Memorial Center. I'm Randy Gore along with Justin Piles. Thomas More leading the W&J Presidents 41-38 in our PAC Sports Network basketball doubleheader. Coming up at 3 p.m. we'll have women's action. As we mentioned, it's a role reversal today. The men playing first, tipping off at around 1 p.m. and then the women again at 3 p.m. as the nationally ranked Thomas More Saints visiting W&J in women's play. But the first in this men's affair, as we talked about, just touched on briefly, the statistics really bear out what we've seen on the scoreboard. A tight game, 41-38, Thomas More. And statistically, rebounds are dead even, 13 each. Turnovers, just 1 differential, 7 for W&J, 6 for Thomas More. Free throws nearly identical. Thomas More perfect from the stripe, 10 of 10, and W&J 11 of 12. Thomas More has taken more three-pointers, so therefore they have more three-pointers. 5 of 16, W&J 3 of 6 from the beyond the arc. But this is about as tight as it can get.
Yeah, and Thomas More doing a good job of getting those outside shots to fall. They're going to have to stay reasonably hot here in the second half because they really didn't have a ton of looks down low. You get the sense both defenses are going to start packing it in. Thomas More basically daring W&J to shoot three-pointers at the end of that first half, and the Presidents responded by making a couple, but we'll see how things transpire here in the second half.
And for what it's worth, field goal percentages, 46% for Thomas More in the first half and 48% for W&J in the first half as Thomas More begins with the basketball. Spencer Burlekamp has Brandon Housley feeding Marshall inside, juggles the basketball but retains it, and a nice laner off the window, and the Saints expand their lead 43-38.
This is the first time Marshall's got the best of Nate Belhide down low, his first points of the afternoon.
So he's on the score sheet, the 6'1 senior Joseph Marshall. Belhide jump shot off the mark, rebound to Carlo Hayes. Burlekamp angles to the right, up to Hayes, now left wing. Mumford to Housley up top. Patient possession. Mumford coming into some space, dribbles in a few steps, works it free. Marshall now out to Hayes for the three-pointer, drains it, and it's quickly 46-38 Thomas More.
Hayes' third make from beyond the arc, and there's the outside shot again. really helped Thomas More build the lead, maintain the lead, and here expanding the lead at the start of the second half, now up to 8.
Hayes with 13. Head fake Haas. Dribbles right, has Johnson. He'll give a head fake, come in a few steps, off the glass, no good. Belhigh has the ball poked out of bounds by Housley. W&J stays in possession.
And Mumford thought he had a rebound there. Belhigh swooped in, just stole it right off his fingertips.
Tyler Haas, 6'4" sophomore from McKees Rocks in Montour High School, sends it in. Quick miss by W&J. Mumford with the rebound. Now, talking with Glenn Gutierrez about the keys for his team today, said that, and it really sounds simplistic, he said the team just needs to shoot well. But he said, you know, while, and he admitted that in that is, well, it sounds very simplistic, but basically that the team had not shot very well as Belhigh with a lay-in cuts it to 46-40. The team had not shot all that well the last couple of games, which had resulted in some losses, and saying that the team just needs to overall take, you know, find better shots and also get in a rhythm as Joseph Marshall misses from point blank, gets his own rebound. Second try will go down for Marshall. Back to an 8-point advantage for the Saints.
Well, the Presidents and Saints both shooting well, up at over 40%. The difference for the Presidents is they haven't really attempted many three-pointers. There's Johnson from the wing knocking one down. That's their 4th make as a team, but they've only attempted 7. So maybe the recipe is to shoot more threes because they're knocking them down with a good percentage, just not with much regularity because they're not attempting very many.
And Johnson has 3 of the 4 that W&J has knocked down, but an answer by DeCarlo Hayes.
We're going to start this kind of game where one side makes a 3 and the other side answers.
Wide open, Resnick lets a player pass him by. That was Housley. Good head fake there by Resnick, and also fantastic awareness of where the other players on the floor were, and gets the easy bucket.
Great court presence, knowing where the defenders are, and that's one of the things that Mike Resnick brings to the table. One of those intangibles, just a real smart basketball player.
Housley head fake goes left to Berlekamp. And just to finish the thought on W&J, Coach Gutierrez and also assistant coach Tom Drakely had said that, you know, part of the way of you know, shooting better is to get to the free throw line with regularity and hit there and build that confidence. Well, W&J has done just that. And as we said, 48% from the field in the opening half. So from that standpoint, the Presidents have done what they came in here hoping to accomplish. Right now they are on the trailing end of a 6-point deficit. 6-point lead for the Saints, 51-45. Presidents with the basketball, wide open. Nick Martin for the bucket right underneath. That's his first points of the night, the 6'1" sophomore. Martin from Blackhawk High School in Beaver Falls, PA. You almost feel like whenever you see a player from Blackhawk, you should be playing for Geneva.
Yeah, there's a lot of them running around in the conference, and not just for Geneva. I've seen Blackhawk, maybe one on nearly every roster.
That's a high school basketball factory, that's for sure. Terrific basketball play out of Blackhawk, and they produced many a college athlete. Mumford finds backdoor to Carlo Hayes, unable to finish though. I believe Martin got a piece of that. And now Haas leads. Lob pass Belhigh, knocked out of there by the Saints. McGovney reels it in. He'll push it forward to Berlekamp. Stops his dribble. Has Housley wide open underneath. 53-47, Thomas More. Housley with 8 points and a timeout for W&J. There were actually 2 players wide open. It was take your pick. It ended up being Housley. Full timeout for W&J.
It's kind of funny. Berlekamp stopped his dribble, and the entire defense just stopped. They didn't sag back towards the hoop. They just stopped right where Berlekamp did, and that's why the players were open underneath.
And with the timeout by the Presidents, we'll take a quick break as well. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
W&J still huddled up. Thomas More already on the floor as the Presidents calling that full timeout at 8th-year head coach Glenn Gutierrez wants to sit down and chat with his group. Glenn Gutierrez at 95 wins at W&J, so he's nearing the century mark. Was the 2006-2007 PAC Coach of the Year, and has led W&J to the PAC semifinals 6 times. And you talked about this earlier on, Justin, that W&J, when it comes to tournament time, well, they just absolutely love it, because they're the team that you don't want to face in the tournament, because they have pulled off, at least over the last 2 years, what has been a first-round upset, and they have often worked their way to the semis.
Yeah, it really shook up the tournament field the last couple of years. 2 years ago, they defeated Teal at Teal, and then last year went into Bethany and took down what I thought was the conference favorite, at least starting out the year. And always a surprise come tournament time. You never know which team is going to score the upset, really shake up things. And the last couple of years, it's been W&J, but due to their hot start this year, or their better start this year, more wins than losses for the first time in a few years. Definitely not going to sneak up on anybody, especially with some of the talent on this team. And definitely hanging with Thomas More right now, seemingly where they've been all game.
Johnson for a long 3-pointer, no good. Burlekamp with the tall rebound. As Mumford streaking from the left side, unable to convert on the finger roll. Bell High rebound. Nick Martin stops his dribble, has Johnson. Head fake, angles right side of the lane. Over Elliott, pipes no good off the glass. Rebound Richard. Burlekamp will slow it up. 6-point lead for Thomas More.
Feels like we've been here the entire game. Just 2-possession game, 5-6 points. Lead's been a little bit more and a little bit less, but we've been about here for a majority of regulation.
Haas, his shot blocked by Chris Richard. Clean block as Haas pretty much drove it into Richard. And now Mumford for 3. High board, rebound Bell High, and then is ripped down to the floor. And Drew Cooper all over one of the officials on the near side, as Nate Bell High is still on the floor. Drew Cooper, whatever it is that he is unhappy about, he was right in the official's ear on the near sideline. Nate Bell High again was ripped down hard on that play and fighting for the rebound, and right now it is his right leg that is being checked on by the athletic training staff here at W&J.
I'm not sure if he stepped on a foot or not. From my vantage point, it just looked like his foot came out underneath him, kind of like he was just slipping on a wet spot or ice or something like that, where your feet just come out from underneath you. Just a little off balance, coming down, pulling down that rebound. And I'm not sure if anything impacted him other than just losing his footing.
Well, right now, one of the star players in the President's Athletic Conference, Nate Bell High, being checked out, and a collective gasp here from the folks of the Henry Memorial Center as they hope to see Nate Bell High back up to his feet. He is helped up, but with a limp, and needs a little bit of help on his way off the floor. Now, I mentioned that Bell High, while there are many pieces to this W&J team, he is the centerpiece of that. And so we'll see how W&J, at least for the time being, how they are able to play without their star player, Nate Bell High. We'll certainly wish him the best, as we do all of our athletes in the President's Athletic Conference, and hopefully he's able to not only get back in, but get back in very soon. But right now he is being escorted back toward the locker room. So the Presidents without Bell High continue on with a 6-point deficit. Well, Mike Resnick has stepped up big time this season on occasion, and perhaps now might be one of those times. We'll see. There's some others. Mitch Locker with a nice jump shot over Chris Richard, levitating through the air. 53-49, Presidents down by 4.
And I would say both those guys you mentioned, Resnick and then Locker with the basket, both those guys need to step up their games, especially offensively right now. Maybe Doug Johnson gets hot from beyond the arc, but they need to stay in this game right now, regardless of if Bell High returns or not. And there's another hit from the corner. Thomas More just on fire from beyond the arc. It's make number 8 for them.
Nate McGovney with that 3-pointer. Mitch Locker has Martin left of the elbow. Now it's Resnick. Follow-away shot, nothing but net. There is Resnick with the connection, 56-51. Saints lead is 5.
We came out here to interview W&J, and one of the words that they kept using, regardless of who we were talking to, was depth. And they love their bench. They love the guys coming off the bench, able to step up as a different player every time, every night seemingly. And right now is a time where they need someone to step up without their leading scorer.
Knifing through the lane, Elliot Pipes fouled. And he'll have 2 from the free throw line. When I talked with the Thomas More Saints, I'm talking about words we heard quite often. I'm talking about head coach Drew Cooper. Detail-oriented was a phrase that came up time and time again from the players. And well, it's never a bad thing to be detail-oriented, especially as a head coach. Drew Cooper in his first year at Thomas More, as Elliot Pipes hits the first, misses the second. 6-point lead for the Saints. But Drew Cooper, there's a little bit of a learning curve between the players and new coach, but Coach Drew Cooper comes with a terrific coaching background from Bellarmine Division II, a successful program. We have a foul on W&J. And that charge to Nick Martin. Foul number 1 on Martin, the 6'1 sophomore. Second team foul in the second half for W&J. Mumford from point blank drops it into the cylinder, and the lead expands to 8 now for Thomas More. Mumford with 14. That's his first field goal of the second half. Locker looking for Resnick, but stepping in front, McGovney with the steal. Mays will survey the defense and slide left past the Pipes.
Belhigh just returned to the bench for the Presidents.
That is good news for W&J. Mumford tries to work his way in on Resnick. And clean block out of bounds by Resnick. Thomas More stays in possession. Mumford trying to draw a call, shaking his left hand as if he might have been whacked. And here comes Nate Belhigh back into the game. He'll check in for Nick Martin. Mays to administer the inbounds pass, does so to Elliot Pipes in the backcourt. Now Pipes will charge forward with Eric Holmes guarding him. And the jump shot won't fall. Ruben Goldstein with the rebound. Doug Johnson will push it. 59-51 Saints. Top of the key look for 3, Ruben Goldstein. He has 6, a 3-pointer in each half. Holmes comes out to guard Mays. Bounce pass, Mumford, baseline drive, now back to Mays for 3. Back of the iron, rebound Resnick. Johnson takes a look at the defense, finds Holmes right wing. Back to Johnson. Really came on in the second half last year, kind of an alley-oop type pass toward Belhigh, but it's swatted out of bounds by McGovney. But to finish the thought on Johnson, came on with a strong second half last year, ended up leading the PAC in 3-point shooting percentage last year. 47% was 36 of 76. Brett Ruben Goldstein accepts the inbounds pass, looks to Johnson. 5-point game. Resnick dribbles in a few steps, jump shot won't fall. Rebound Mumford. Running in transition now the Saints. Without numbers, Mays will back it off. McGovney angles left toward the lane, passes it off to Mumford to the right wing. Hayes back to Mays.
Taking their time, reset, still 17 on the shot clock. Good veteran play by DeCarlo Hayes, calling for the basketball and going to get it.
Housley passes it off to Mays, open for a 2-point jumper. Drew Mumford. Got to get a hand in his face. There was a hand in the vicinity, but has to be a little closer than that. Mumford with 16, now steal for the Saints. Mays tried to rifle a pass, but a fortunate carom for Mays gets the ball back. Loose ball now out to DeCarlo Hayes. He loses it. Dive on the floor. Ruben Goldstein last to touch it. Saints possession with, as we head to the 10-minute mark of this second half, it's a 61-54 lead for the Saints. Hayes. Bounce pass Housley. Strong step into the lane for the bucket off the window. 63-54, 9-point lead, Thomas More. Brandon Housley in double digits now with 10. We're under 10 minutes to play, full timeout. And we'll take a break as well. Again, 63-54, Thomas More. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
Bankruptcy myths. Busted.
Bankruptcy is just another word for failure. It's for deadbeats.
The typical person filing for bankruptcy is 38, middle class, and educated. Over 90% of bankruptcies are traceable to job loss, illness, or divorce. Factors largely out of anyone's control.
Myth. Busted. Bankruptcy myths. Busted. Brought to you by Foster Law Offices. Call today to schedule a free consultation and sleep better tonight.
Last time the Presidents were in the lead in this game, they were up 29-28 at the 4:23 mark of the first half, and that was only for a short time. That lead was short-lived as Thomas More regained the lead directly after that, and they have held it since that point. Right now the advantage is 9, and Coach Glenn Gutierrez calling a timeout for W&J. They have expended 4 of their 6 timeouts to this point, trying to prevent the Saints from running away in the second half. But the way this game is played, I don't know that that is possible to happen, that a team could run away, but who knows?
And it's been tight throughout. W&J just a little less offense here in the second half. And Thomas More seemingly hitting every shot over the last few minutes.
Tyler Haas, the floater, drops it into the cylinder.
Now the Presidents need a stop here, or a set of stops. About 9.5 to go.
Cross court, McGovney off the pass, dribbles left, looks off to Richard, now back up top to Mays. 17 on the shot clock. McGovney to Mumford, and passes it to McGovney, who wasn't looking. Fortunate carom though to Richard. Richard, good no-look bounce pass to McGovney. He's fouled and kind of bailed out there by Holmes because he was coming from a tough angle, pretty much right underneath the backboard.
Yeah, underneath the backboard with 6 on the shot clock, just trying to throw up a shot. He was bailed out beforehand too, and he was not looking for a pass. And luckily, it caromed right to Richard. And things are going well. Things are going really well, I guess, because usually when you have a pass go off of someone who's not looking, it goes right to the other team.
Rattles home the first free throw. McGovney with 6. And McGovney has the second one spit in. So fortunate bounces and spins for the Thomas More Saints, and more specifically, Nate McGovney. Brett Ruben Goldstein, leaner, won't drop, gets his own rebound. 15-footer, Mitch Locker drains it. Locker with 13. Lead sits at 7 for the Saints. DeCarlo Hayes behind the back dribble, bounce pass right wing. Mays trying to go back to Hayes, out of bounds, hustle defense by Brett Ruben Goldstein.
I think it was good defense initially by Ruben Goldstein, attacking Hayes and trying to force him to give up the basketball or drive to the hoop. Can't let the Saints sit back there and take so much time off the clock. And what's really hurting W&J is they're taking a lot of time off the clock and scoring at the end of the possession.
DeCarlo Hayes for the three-pointer. Hits the rim twice, rebound Belhigh. Able to fight off Chris Richard and gets the ball to Tyler Haas. Haas, shimmy, shake, move into the lane, draws a foul on Thomas More.
Good aggression by Haas, going right down the lane. I'd like to see W&J force the issue on defense a little more, whether it's attacking Hayes or another ball handler, trapping in the corners, maybe a full court or three-quarter court press, something just to try and get some steals, because they're running out of time. Still a lot of time in the game, but just the way it's been going, they need to get it running then sooner than later.
And at this point, not very many team fouls on either squad to this point. 2 team fouls on the Saints, 3 team fouls on the Presidents. Haas with the first free throw. And now for the second. Also true. Haas with 4 points. Haas a 68% free throw shooter. Knocking down both of those moments ago. 5-point affair. Berlekamp. In the forecourt with Hayes back to Berlekamp. Fakes a pass inside, swings it left. Hayes to McGovney. Back toward Berlekamp. Almost jumping that pass was Haas. Coming free is McGovney. McGovney, baseline move and off the window. Back to a 7-point pad for Thomas More. McGovney, 1 under his average, has 9 points today. Bell High, the right-handed hook off the front of the rim. Marshall with the board. Mumford, bounce pass to Berlekamp. Slithers into the lane, head fake, baseline spin by Marshall. Use of the glass, no good on the first shot. Second shot blocked out of there by Nate Belhigh. Pull up three-pointer, Tyler Haas back of the iron. Rebound off the hands of Resnick and into the arms of McGovney for Thomas More. 7 to go. Hayes. Back out to McGovney. Saints will slow it. Berlekamp from Cincinnati, Ohio, and Kings High School passes it off to McGovney. Marshall in high traffic gives it away to Tyler Haas. 3-on-2. Pull-up jumper, no good. Rebound by McGovney. Remains a 7-point lead for Thomas More with 6.5 to go. Timeout. Thomas More will take a break as well. We'll be back on the PAC Sports Network.
3 generations, Sharps Furniture has been proud to serve Southwestern PA with their brand of personal service. Being an authorized dealer for Lazy Boy, they are dedicated to providing the finest quality products made here in the US of A. Looking for custom upholstery? Sharps carries a large selection of upholstery to choose from, all made in America. And their friendly staff will deliver right to your front door. Sharps Furniture, your authorized Lazy Boy dealer. Family owned, family operated since 1917. Located just off I-70, exit 19B in Washington, PA. When you are in need of fast, affordable, and professional voiceovers, contact TimeAd Productions. TimeAd Productions offers voice services for business presentations, documentary narrations, radio, television, imaging, and commercials, movie trailers, corporate phone systems, websites, audiobooks, and more. Visit or contact us online at www.timeadproductions.com.
462.
Second half of the PAC Sports Network. Thomas More with a 7-point lead, 67-60. And Nate Belhigh, statistical note. Belhigh, 14 points in the first half, has just 2 in the second.
Yeah, part of that time he missed going out with a lower body injury, but really has not been much of a factor. Even with the basketball, Thomas More denying him the basketball. He hasn't had the free throw opportunities he had in the first half. They've done a nice job of eliminating him basically from the offense.
Working their own offensive set, the Thomas More Saints. Mumford has Chris Richard all alone with 5 on the shot clock. The lay-in, 69-60.
So many possessions by the Saints going down under 10 seconds in the shot clock. They find a way to get 2 points out of it.
Spencer Burlekamp goes into the stands near the W&J cheerleaders. And the possession with W&J. Doug Johnson to send it in momentarily with under 6 to play. Mike Resnick from the right side will dribble it left, passes it off to Brett Ruben Goldstein. Rifle pass tipped, was intended for Bell High, but bounces to Doug Johnson. A fine bounce pass to Bell High, but the up and under won't count because Bell High travels first. Game 1 of our broadcast doubleheader. That's right, the men's team's playing first today here at W&J. The women coming up, the nationally ranked Thomas More women, 6th in the nation according to D3Hoops.com. And they're ranked pretty high just about every publication you check nationally.
Including my own, if I had one.
Steal by the Presidents. Mitch Locker fouled on his way to the bucket.
It should be a good women's game. W&J picked to finish second preseason poll, and take that for what it's worth. Sometimes those are accurate, sometimes they're not. If you look at the two teams out here, they were picked to finish in opposite positions of where they are right now, but W&J, one of the challengers to the Thomas More stranglehold on the PAC Women's Basketball Championship, and it'll be Thomas More's biggest game to this point in the conference. It'll be interesting to see what they bring to the table and how W&J tries to respond, tries to upset them. There was a couple of times last year where W&J had Thomas More on the ropes, once down in Kentucky, and unable to score the upset. But they've played them tough the last couple of years. They've always seemed to bring out the best. Obviously, when you're a team or a program like that, you have a target on your back. You bring out the best in other teams. So I'm excited for that women's game coming up after this.
And a rematch of last year's women's championship game in the President's Athletic Conference, so keep that in mind. It'll be the first meeting since that championship affair, which of course was won by the Thomas More women. They are winners of the conference for the last 7 seasons. Right now it's a 7-point game right here, the men's contest, after Mitch Locker connected on both of his free throws. DeCarlo Hayes works it left. McGovney open for the triple, rattles out, tip off the rebound. Hayes to Richard in wide open space, 71-62.
Boy, that was all DeCarlo Hayes there, getting a hand in between two W&J defenders, tipping it over to his teammate Richard, uncontested lay-in. Can't really teach that.
And Richard in double digits with 10. Three-pointer by Ruben Goldstein. Again, nothing but net. Keeping the Presidents alive in this one. All 3 of his connections from the field for Brett Ruben Goldstein from beyond the arc.
Now W&J starting to trap a little bit.
Nice dish, Richard to Hayes, can't finish. Rebound, Mitch Locker.
Maybe a little contact underneath, but with W&J forcing the issue, and Thomas More, a good look, just unable to finish it off.
Under 4 to go. Resnick. Remember his efforts against Juniata, Mr. Clutch. See if he can come up with something big in the later stages of this one. Thomas More, of course, has other thoughts in mind. They want to leave here with a nice, easy win. But easy, I don't think it's going to be. There's a bucket for Nate Bell High with a spin move on the right side.
Bell High going left all the way, looking left, and then just spun around Richard to his right. No chance for Richard to defend the much bigger Bell High. Not just the height, but the length of his arms, too. It's just impossible to get a hand on his shot when he's that close to the hoop and able to spin like that.
Just the second field goal of the second half for Nate Bell High, but he has 18. Off a screen, Hayes dribbles right, crosses over left. Some contact knocks him down to the floor. Charge the foul to Mike Resnick. Resnick not all that enthused about the call. 5-point game, 71-66. Closest we've been in a little while. Lead has fluctuated from about 7 to 9 points for Thomas More. And now to a 5-point game. Richard will dribble it out. 17 on the shot clock, still plenty of time on this possession. Hayes works it to Mumford. Mumford trying to create some space. He does. He creates some points and a foul.
It seems like he's been doing that all afternoon, making baskets, getting fouled, and opportunities to add on.
Stay tuned. After this game goes final, we'll hand out our Foster Law Office's Player of the Game Award. Also, check out our website, pacstream.net. We have our Foster's Law Office's Player of the Game page, which features some statistics and also Player of the Game interviews done by Kat Guyon. Free throw and the three-point play converted by Drew Mumford. As we mentioned, he has a 4-point play and now 2 3-point plays achieved today. Resnick, nice pass to Belhigh. Lets Pipes pass him by with the use of the window. 74-68, Saints leading. Belhigh with 20. And a tip by Belhigh, but McGovney recovers. As Housley baseline, he'll back it off. Saints want to eat up time off the clock. And the Saints also would like a timeout. Full timeout for Thomas More. And with that, we'll take a break with them. 74-68 Saints on the PAC Sports Network.
We're here at Sport Clips, the new just for guys haircutting place, to see what the buzz is about. How was it?
Nice cut, nice price, professional stylist. Doesn't get any better than this.
There's sports on TV at every chair.
I got an awesome haircut, steam towel treatment, neck and shoulder massage. I went all the way!
What are you waiting for? Sport Clips is now in your neighborhood. At Sport Clips, guys win.
With 2 locations in Washington County, at the McMurray Shops in Peters Township and at Trinity Point in Washington.
Under 2 minutes to go in this affair is the Thomas More Saints, who have led this since the 4:23 mark of the first half, on a 74-68 advantage over the homestanding Presidents. And the lead has really never been more than 10 points in either direction. And W&J just can't get over the hump. They've drawn to within 5 in the second half, but have not gotten any closer than that.
Yeah, largest lead for Thomas More through the entire game. Seems like double digits, actually only 9. And W&J led way back about 4 minutes to go in the first half. Has not led here in the second half, but have been in this position. Try and make it a 1-possession game. Just haven't been able to eke back into it. Thomas More always has an answer at the other end. Now time is against the Presidents. They've tried to force the issue and pick up the pace here the last few minutes, but Thomas More won't have any of it. No, 13 to shoot on the shot clock.
DeCarlo Hayes off the Saints timeout. Mumford open for the three-pointer, short on the shot, rebound Resnick.
Now an opportunity for W&J here, just a 6-point game with a 3. It will make it a 1-possession game. Don't necessarily need one, tons of time still, but every possession very precious.
A minute and a half left. Brett Ruben Goldstein has Johnson right wing. Now it's Resnick near the top of the key. Burleycamp with the defense. Ruben Goldstein slides right. Locker slides right past the Ruben Goldstein. Off the backboard, spins outside of the rim. Rebound Richard, and Burleycamp foul. And that should be, I believe, the 6th team foul on W&J, and it is. So 1 more to give.
Foul on number 33, Mike Resnick, is 3rd, team 6.
And Burleycamp fouled, this time by Locker. So Spencer Burleycamp, he was an 80% free throw shooter, 8 of 10 entering today's action.
Thomas More at the line, shooting 1 of 1. At the line for the Saints.
Housley in for Richard. Probably draw the Belhigh assignment with help from a double team if Presidents try to feed him down low or get him the ball on the perimeter.
Burleycamp hits the first of a 1-and-1, earns a second shot. Burleycamp, a 6-foot senior. One of several players from Cincinnati, Ohio on the Saints roster. It's the second free throw to drop, 8-point lead. Burleycamp with 7. Resnick, jump shot, spins out, fight for the rebound. Off of Housley. Housley with a smile with the official on the baseline, trying to buy the call. And both Housley and the official know that it was off of him. Leaner by Locker. Loose ball off the rebound to Belhigh. Put back off the spinning fadeaway. Doesn't go down, but Belhigh is fouled where he's made most of his money today. Nate Belhigh will go to the line.
The biggest contact there, he might have got something from one of the Saints on the arm, but I think the biggest contact there was as he spun around, he bumped right into Mitch Locker. Made that shot even tougher. Friendly fire.
Free throw good for Belhigh, who has 21.
11 of 12 now from the line.
.54 seconds left in this one. Belhigh makes both. Belhigh, the Fort Cherry High School product, local to the Washington, Pennsylvania area. His little sister, Becca Belhigh, playing on the W&J women's basketball team. We'll see her in a little bit.
She is really having a tremendous year too. Breakout year after a pretty good freshman year by freshman standards, but it's really come on to be kind of an extra option. I don't know if she's even the third option. She might be higher than that on the W&J offense, but definitely another option, a great asset to have in addition to Chelsea Apke and Valerie Dunlap.
Foul on the Presidents, and that is on Brett Ruben Goldstein, his first. As Burleycamp hits the front end of another 1-and-1. If you're the Presidents, might want to find someone else to foul on these 1-and-1 opportunities. Burleycamp makes both. He has 9. Presidents hustle up the floor, trailing 78-70. Resnick looking for Belhigh, tipped out of bounds by Housley. Like the thought here by the Presidents, still have time. Granted, it is an 8-point deficit, but you can't whittle it down. There's no 8-point basket, so you just have to try and whittle this lead down as quickly as you can. So trying to work it to Belhigh and do it in a quick fashion, but they're a giveaway to DeCarlo Hayes, and that might be a very costly turnover. Hayes fouled, and we certainly know after seeing him late in the season a year ago in the PAC championship game, he can hit free throw after free throw, and he's at the line now. DeCarlo Hayes this season, 89% from the charity stripe, 39 of 44. Makes the first. That's also the best free throw percentage in the conference. .37 seconds remaining. Hayes makes both, and now it's the largest lead of the game. 10 points for Thomas More, 80-70. Johnson right corner. Resnick for 3, and Resnick comes up lame after the shot as he limps about. Might have had knee-to-knee contact, perhaps.
Not sure if it's his knee. Does have looks like a brace on that knee. Kind of grabbing the back of his knee a little bit. I don't know what happened.
Maybe cramping up, it looks like now.
Might be his calf he's pulling on. He's trying to stretch it out.
Hayes back at the line. Knocks down yet another. Foul on Doug Johnson, his third. Resnick will check out, especially at this stage of the game now. Might as well pull him out. Don't want to risk any future issues with one of your reliable players. Doug Johnson with the laner drains it. And a quick timeout for W&J with 19.8 to go. 82-72 our score. We'll keep it right here as things appear to be firmly in the hands of the Thomas More Saints.
Yeah, Thomas More doing a nice job in the second half, especially with Nate Belhigh having a big first half, 14 points. They really limited him the entire half. He left a little bit with an injury, but really limited his touches. And then down the stretch, making key shots when they needed to, making their free throws. That's how good teams finish off games, by preserving that lead. And did a great job of it today. Kind of vintage Thomas More a little bit. You were mentioning Hayes with the free throw shooting. We saw him just kind of like a machine out there, just time after time going to the free throw line, knocking down free throws, and a lot of good free throw shooters on this team. And that's how, when you have a lead, that's the best way to close out a game, being able to make your free throws, being able to run your offensive sets and find quality shots as the shot clock's winding down. So they have the look of potentially a pretty good team. Much different look than when we saw them at Grove City. And just 2 wins on the year, but even conference record so far. They'll improve that today if they can hold this 10-point lead the next 19 seconds. But definitely don't count out Thomas More here. Still early January.
As we talked about early in the broadcast, the 2-9 record of Thomas More extremely misleading. They're a much better team than that record would indicate, and displaying it today, and as you said, a little bit, or a very much different team compared to what they were at Grove City when we saw them earlier on in the year. A foul here on the Presidents. Burleycamp will head to the line, but with 14.4 to go. And the addition, again, we've seen Brandon Housley, we've seen Joseph Marshall tonight, or this afternoon rather, but they haven't been major players in this game. But just the addition, the contribution that they give to this Thomas More team, it really takes a load off the back of guys like the Carlo Hayes and Drew Mumford, and just opens things up for everyone else on the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple other characteristics that Thomas More has had the last couple of seasons, and they haven't really had it this year so far, is guys scoring up and down the score sheet. And several contributors today. Doing a good job making hay with the three-pointers too. But look up and down the score sheet. You have Hayes with 20, Mumford with 19, Housley and Richard also in double figures. I mean, that's how they've built this program with the depth scoring, and they've had some success with three-pointers, and they went back to that today.
5 players in double digits today for Thomas More, and one narrowly missing that as Nate McGovney finishes with 9. And this one finished as well. We are a final 83-72. Thomas More victorious over the W&J Presidents. Saints improved to 3-9 overall, 2-1 in league play. W&J at 500 now at 6-6, and also at 500 in the league at 2-2. Stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll hand out our Foster Law Office's Player of the Game on the PAC Sports Network.
Disability affects the lives of over 29,000 people in Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties. Tri-County Patriots for Independent Living are people with and without disabilities working to meet those needs in the community. The success of Triple comes from the commitment of a dedicated board of directors, its members, and volunteers. To continue to improve services, Triple is renovating the historical YWCA building located at 42 West Maiden Street in Washington. This will allow for an assistive internet cafe, increased veteran services, and transportation and wellness to provide skills to help with independent living. Your help and feedback are appreciated, and if you seek assistance, we're here to help.
Welcome back on the PAC Sports Network. Game 1 of our broadcast doubleheader has gone final. 83-72, Thomas More with the win. Just some quick individual totals as we prepare for our second game of the broadcast, women's action. Same 2 schools, of course. DeCarlo Hayes with 20 points. Drew Mumford with 19 for the Saints. Spencer Burleycamp 10. Brandon Housley with 10. Chris Richard with 10, and Nate McGovney had 9. Now almost 6 players in double digits today for Thomas More, so up and down the bench the Saints producing. Nate Belhigh for the Presidents with 22, Doug Johnson 11, and Mitch Locker with 15. Mike Resnick was the one to narrowly miss out on double digits. He ends up with 8 points today. And a game that, as we talked about toward the later stages, the Presidents had a brief lead at 29-28 with 4:23 to play in the first half. The Saints regained the lead. That lead was short-lived for W&J. The Saints regained their lead shortly thereafter and maintained it, blowing it open to its biggest point down the stretch at a 10 and then a final 11-point win at 83-72. So it wasn't necessarily an emphatic win by Thomas More, but it was solid. I mean, they did everything they needed to do to win this game.
That's a road conference win. You cannot take those for granted, especially in a conference like the PAC, and in a year where it's wide open. You have to take every win that you can get, and they'll certainly take this one today. I think it was a big win for Thomas More just because of the start that they had, snapping a 5-game losing streak, getting on the plus side with a 2-1 conference record, and things are looking up for them. Got a couple players back, and they're doing Thomas More type of things, having scoring depth and success from beyond the arc. And you cannot discredit them, even though they started out with such a horrible record. It's not how you play in November, obviously. It's that later in the season you want to peak in March, and this is maybe the first step towards having a good second half of the year.
Yeah, you get the sense today that Thomas More might be on the way back to a strong finish in 2014, as they have over the last 2 seasons where they've reached the PAC title game. And of course, this Saints team, they want to seal the deal. They want to finish it off going all the way for the conference title and also heading to the NCAA tournament. So the first step toward that, Saints pretty impressive today with the 83-72 win. With all of that said, now for our Foster Law Office's player of the game, we had to think things over a little bit, but overall it came down to 2 players, and we sided with 6'2" junior Drew Mumford, who's had a bust-out season, and he finishes today with 19 points, contributed in many other facets of the game, had a 4-point play and a couple of other 3-point plays in helping lift the Saints to the win today.
Yeah, kind of a microcosm of his breakout season, doing things inside, slashing to the rim, getting fouled, free throws, had a couple of 3-pointers, finished with 3 rebounds, 5 assists to go along with his 19 points. Great job by him, but we were talking about, it's really the depth of the Saints, and having a guy like Mumford that you can turn to get you points is great, but it's the secondary scoring that will ultimately prove, how far this team can go. But terrific afternoon by him and DeCarlo Hayes, and really up and down that Saints team. Can't say enough about the depth, and the bench really came to play today for Thomas More.
Congratulations to Drew Mumford and the Thomas More Saints for the victory today, and of course Mumford being named our Foster Law Office's player of the game. 83-72 the final today, Saints over the Presidents. We're going to take a break with a standby, and we'll come back with game 2 of our doubleheader women's play. Same 2 schools, the Saints and the Presidents. We'll be back in a few on the PAC Sports Network.